Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's another week of live radio with yours truly, Kev Baker, coming to you live from Glasgow, Scotland, right here on your number one network, Truth Frequency Radio. And you are all on the Truth Frequency, both literally and metaphysically, because I think something brought you all here at this time, right now, for a reason. And that fills me full of joy because I know I have got an amazing show lined up for all of you who made it here today. But before we go anywhere, I am Kev Baker. We are coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland, and we're going all the way from America to Australia. And we do that thanks to Chris and Cherie Geo, the brains and the beauty behind Truth Frequency Radio, tfrlive.com, where we like to cater for all your informational needs and infotainment. And we try to give you 100 protection from deception, and where we practice something called silence is consent. Yes, indeed. All of that together, plus you, it makes for an amazing experience. And to really have a show on a par with the audience that we have here, I have to go and get some of the best guests possible, and today is definitely no exception. Since her first appearance on the Kev Baker Show, she has made a huge impact on me personally, and I know from the mail that I get from some of you out there that she has won a place in a lot of your hearts as well. Now, maybe you've heard her elsewhere over on Fringe FM, with Joe Roop, Lighting the Void. A big shout out to Joe, Ryan and the team over at Fringe FM. Well, we've stolen her once a month over here. We've got our very own date with Mary Dusina. She is amazing. She's a star shaman, a psychic, a tarot reader, an astrologer, a mystic, and so much more, ladies and gentlemen, so much more. She was born on Halloween, no less, and did the first psychic call-in show in the Tampa area in the 1980s. Now, you can get a full reading. You can find out all about what Mary gets up to over at our website, marydusina.com. That's Mary, D-U-S-I-N-A, marydusina.com. And like I say, she's here with us today. And after the first break, ladies and gents, get your pens and paper ready, because I'll be giving you a number and you can call in to speak to Mary as well. So without any further ado, welcome back on this, a massive super moon. How are you doing, Mary?
Oh, thank you, Kev. It's so nice how you acknowledge, the station. And I love the slogan, your protection from deception. Love that. And hello to the audience, and hello to all of you listening live that Kismet, fate, has made possible for you to tune in at this time on the various time zones around the planet. And also blessings to those that will catch this on the replay. The energy is alive whenever you're meant to come to it with any of the guests or any of the topics. Anything in my world, when you look at it from the indigenous elders and ancestors and First Nations people and all the wonderful tribes of our ancient ones, medicine is something that helps serve you and to empower your soul. So even though I know and work with astrology or oracle or tarot or herbs or oils or Reiki or whatever it is, these are just earthwalk tools. Many times people will say, well, I don't believe in astrology, and they're startled when I say, neither do I. And they look at me and I'm like, that's not my spiritual badge of honor, if you will, effective tool to help one get the knots and the twist out of their ego and their personality. It helps fashion, perhaps, hopefully, a better version of ourselves to learn about where our strengths or our challenges might be. So I think people, and Kev, sometimes people, in a sense of ignorance, and I don't mean stupid when I say ignorance, but in a sense of they don't know because they've been so against something or someone, or from their base level, their anchor of beliefs, and I understand it. But from time to time, I like to qualify it that if you work with something as a tool, it really helps to have a shovel when you're going to go out there and start to plant bigger trees or bushes. I mean, it's a tool. Doesn't mean that you have to go take the shovel with you in the shower or to bed. It's a tool. And so I think that because there have been, as with any profession in life, those people that beguile and bewitch or lead people into reliant or, work on people's vulnerability just to get money out of them, just to get them to be addicted to them, which to me is the same as being addicted to any other negative crutch. There have been people, certainly I've met them and I've exposed them, that you have a curse on you, I've got to charge you blah 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 to burn a candle for you. So it is out there, and just like I have clients that said, you know what, when you hire from the human race, you will find wrongful policemen and inappropriate doctors, and when people turn to the dark, they turn to the dark. So I would suggest to the audience to always, as it says in the good book, we test the spirit of something, the essence. You learn to trust your own soul sovereignty of whether you're drawn to someone or not. Even if they're not the same baseline belief as you. I've met some wonderful Buddhist priests, and I gauge it like this, Kev. I mean, if somebody walks their talk and doesn't just talk their talk, that's going to get my attention. So I think the best spiritual business card that could ever be is this one: by my work she shall know me.
Absolutely, and I've shared with you on and off air, I've been very hesitant in the past to go down the astrological kind of road because of what you've just said there. But I think now we've got a number of shows where we as the audience, me as the host, I can look back on, and I do like to judge people by their fruits. And I absolutely love what Mary has brought to the table here. And I was sharing with you just before we went on air there, Mary. I nipped out to go and see a friend round the corner just before we came on air. And I was blown away because obviously I know we get together on the full moon, but tonight it is absolutely massive. It's taking up the night sky. So what's going on with this full moon, Mary?
When you have and you can go to a wonderful website called earthsky.org, and they take it from an astronomical explanation like JPL and NASA.gov to be able to ascertain the technical, if you will, definition of a supermoon. But simply put, in my little mountain mystic ways, simply put, it's a moon that's in closer proximity to our Earth Mother. And so if you look at that mystically, what it mystically represents is that grandmother moon, because the moon and Earth are deemed as yin or feminine energies. When we have a supermoon in a mystical, medicinal sense, it has to do with our lovely moon is lighting up. There's more light in the night sky and the dark sky, so we're getting the illuminations. There's a lot more light. The light is closer in our Earth walk right now. But there's another thing that's going on celestially too. There's another ascended master's moon. This is the first of a trilogy. I call it the spring trifecta in the northern hemisphere here. Whenever we have the full moon in Libra, which is this one, it happens to be a supermoon this year, not so every year, and this one has a very strong, really almost like an upgrade in our own hard drives in our human walk. It's like putting more light on our soul, and it's putting more light on a regeneration, an upgrade, a resurrection, if you will, of our energies, because what's happening is that there are several planets lining up and touching at 8 degrees. And so the 8, if you put it on its side, is the infinity symbol.
Yeah.
And the infinity symbol is, I like to call it a halo with a twist, a halo with an intersection.
I love that little symbol. I've got one tattoo. I've got like a tribal band. I got conned when I was in Tampa, Mary. It's nothing tribal at all, apart from the price that was attached to it. But if it wasn't for that, I think it would probably be the infinity symbol. And I don't know why.
I love it.
I've just always loved it.
Well, if you think about the infinity symbol, the cosmic lemniscan, it's like what goes forth will cycle back and come to you. And it's the golden rule, as we treat others, as we go forth with it, it'll come back around to us. So it's that intersection. If you look at a yin and yang, it's if you look at right, left, east, west, it's that which is intentionally put forth from us has an intersection in the middle, and it's going to cycle back around us. So our good deeds without expectation, I might add. There's a difference between someone that does something nice to you and buys you lunch, but deep in their intention, they're thinking, okay, they better pay next time, or I did this for them, so they better do that for me. That's giving with strings attached, which goes on. But if you don't express that, then that's not a free-flowing type of giving. So the infinity symbol is really a lot to do with balance. In this Libra moon, you look at the symbols of Libra. It's the scales of justice. And so it's Lady Liberty, if you will. And in the spring festival of full moons, this one is quite interesting because it's at Passover Resurrection. And when you look at the White Eagle Ascended Master moons, there's 3 of them. I earmark this full moon and the next 2 as the most important each year. This one is the Festival of the Christ Consciousness, and it has a lot to do with the astrological new year began at equinox, and so we have the sun starting its celestial sojourn through the first of the 12 Western zodiac signs. When we come to April 11th, it will be the first new moon of this year. So it's mystics and people that follow the seasons and the signs and look at how in the sign of Aries, spring is bursting forth in areas that have the 4 seasons, so to speak.
Mary, can I quickly interrupt you there?
Yes, sir, of course.
You mentioned the Ascended Masters.
Yes.
Now, could you tell us what you mean by that? Because I've done shows in the past where people have talked about these, air quotes, Ascended Masters, and I don't know if it's the same as what you're talking about. But they've kind of talked about them in a bad light. So what does Ascended Masters mean to you, Mary?
When I was living in Florida, and I started studying.
I'm not trying to catch you out or anything.
No.
Try to learn, you know.
There's different aspects of Ascended Masters. Like you'll hear people talk about Saint Germain being the Ascended Master of the violet flame and how we transmute and raise up our frequencies. The violet flame is the fire that does not burn, you know, but it's like that 7th and 8th chakra type of energy, the energy center that helps us purge and transform, whether we've had something that kicked us to the curb or we got blindsided by something. Instead of staying bitter, when we transmute it or transform it, it makes us better. We're not caged. We're not bound by that negative event. But what I'm talking about with the next 3 full moons, and they are specifically when the moon is full, when the sun is in Aries. So they'll often write it different than I say it. They'll often write it at when the full moon happens in the Aries time. So but the moon's in Libra. So during the first 3 spring full moons of the Western Zodiac New Year, so the full moon in Libra, the one last night and tonight, the supermoon this year, and the next one is in Scorpio, and the one after that in Sagittarius. So what I'm speaking about on the White Eagle Lodge out of England, you can look it up, Ascended Masters moons, they call it the Festivals of Spring. The Libra one is Passover Resurrection, and at the time of Easter, with the way the teaching goes is this is the most powerful energy emphasis on the Christed consciousness. And what the ascended Christ, what the resurrected Christ, when we allow the light and the illumination of the Christ to bring renewal into our lives with mercy and compassion and forgiveness, the Christ light anchors the divine principle of love and forgiving, giving forth love, forgiveness, and compassion. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So this is an alchemical process that we, as spirits in human vessels, it's an alchemical transformative process that can impact our hearts and our minds, how we think, so we don't get bogged down with strongholds mentally. Of all faiths, we can set by example of all faiths and all cultures. So what this is it's moving forward. Libra is even in Egyptian mythology. When you look up M-A-A-T, this is where in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, on one side of the scale is the heart of a person that's lived their life, and the other side, it's being measured, there's a feather. And if the person's goodness, their overarching goodness, matches that feather of the divine, then in the Egyptian beliefs, which I didn't grow up with that, but in the Egyptian Book of the Dead...
I'm going through that journey, Mary. I'm telling you, don't fancy my chances against the feather.
Stop that. No, it's how we're all going to fall. We're all going to blunder. We're all going to have snares of temptations and lures, and we're going to get into the me and the ego, mego. So sometimes we just want to take it. Sometimes we just want to dive into the temptation. And even when seemingly horrible things happen in our life, if we can resurrect it in time. Sometimes we need time, but if we can resurrect that hurt or that pain or that betrayal and then forge ahead and not let it be a vampirical tentacle into us. I've had clients, Kev, that the people that betrayed them or hurt them or really did really nasty, abusive things to them, either predatorial stuff, monetary stuff, and even the one that was the predator or the betrayer died. And the person remaining on earth that's still haunting and affecting them and creating them to be walking this earth embittered, and just hostile.
I was that bad, dude. When I was in the army, I was not a nice guy. You wouldn't have liked me, Mary. I was that betrayer. I've got a lot of kind of bad juju to work off from my younger age,
To this point, Kev, this is that moon. And today specifically, the Christ moon is about put it on the altar. Let it go. Let the divinity of the resurrection, let the divinity of the ascension take that burden off of you. It's sometimes when we've done these things that we're not proud of, and if we could go back in time, we'd say, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
big time. So you said, Mary, that right now, and I'm asking this for a reason. This is a time when, figuratively speaking, it would be good to say, just throw your hands up in the air and say whatever, and just dump it all there on the altar.
A little deeper than that, I would say this is the festival of the Christ, the ascended Christ, okay? The ascended Christ. So in other words, the transfigurant. So it's not carrying the cross anymore, if I can put it in the terms of this time of year.
Yeah.
This is about, I don't have to carry the cross. The cup wasn't taken from me, but instead I can say, like as it's written, it is finished. It is finished. Into thy hands I command the spirit of it. So giving up the spirit of malice, the spirit of shame or blame, and saying, me Christ. And so the ascended energy of this moon, different than the next one in Scorpio, which is known in the eastern side of the world as Wesak, W-E-S-A-K, or for some Vietnamese people, they spell it and say it with a V. Like in Valentine's, they'll say Visak. But in the Hindu, in the Himalayas, where they gather in the Himalayas for the Buddha moon, it's called Wesak, and it's a water moon. And that's about dying to the new order, to the birth of the new you. But this is about not giving up the cross, like the things you weren't proud of back then or any of us. This is about, I'm tired of that haunting me. It weighs me down. I avoid it. I don't like to think of it, and yet I know it's in there in my cellular, trunk. So I want to bring that up and out and give it up to the Christ and give it up to the Holy Ghost, and I'm going to let that cross come off of me. So it's about knowing that this is a time of renewal and rebirth into our light bodies and our higher self. So instead of the personality's subjective crucifixion of shame or blame or the death of this and why did that happen to me, poor me, and all that kind of stuff, and why did I betray that person myself, we've all messed up. We've all either been the bad guy or we've not put a halt to the bad guy sometimes. So this full moon, the three ascended master full moons, the Libra, the Scorpio, and the Sagittarius moon, the one that will be a lunar eclipse this year, has a main message of this. Of all 12 full moons in a given year, sometimes there's 13, sometimes there's 13 moons, but of all the moons that happen in a year, in the year of 2021, this one starts the trilogy of the ascended masters from east meets west, west and east, and then as they merge together, for those people that grew up in India, for those people that grew up in the Himalayas and they're Buddhist, this is the one of the Christness, all right, from the Middle East to every Christian everywhere in Orthodoxy. This is about there is an ability to be saved. There is an ability to let it go to a higher power. So what we're struggling with in our personality, in our continence of our willpower, the strongholds in our mind, this is that full moon. And particularly, there's an interesting mystical twist to this moon. It's at 8 degrees. Remember we were talking about the infinity? It's at 8 degrees, Aries, Libra. We also have 3 celestial messengers or agents of that are coming together at 8 degrees. So we've got 3 main planets in Aries, so we call that a stellium, coming together at 8 degrees. One of them is Venus. Venus rules this full moon because Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Right now, the planet of change and radical decisions to boldly go where no man has gone before. So for us to get outside, to let go of those things that have weighed us down and where we feel like really stagnant. Uranus is now at 8 degrees of Taurus. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. And March, numerologically, 2021, when you add those three numbers together, 20 plus 21 equals a 5. So the universal year in numerology for 2021 is a 5. Add that to the 3 calendar month of March, that's an 8. So the 8...
So, Mary, sorry to interrupt you again. I love listening to you. And, you've really caused me to pause and think and reflect in the shows that we've already done so far. One that really had an effect on me and really caused me to take a really close, hard look at things was when we really spoke in depth about the hardest place to look, being inside. I've found myself, looking inwards a lot more recently. And you're right, it's not comfortable. But I tell you what, Mary, not saying I'm a better person on the back of it or anything like that, but I think I've made peace with a lot of things that I didn't even realize I was still carrying around with me until I really took that cold, hard look inside. And I'm wondering, with everyone that listens to the show here right now, we're all going through our own things. But this full moon feels significant to me. And I think it's going to be significant to a lot of people out there. Do you find a lot of people are going through what I'm going through right now, what I'm talking about here? They're letting go?
Well, remember, if we're going to resurrect something and we're going to release it to a higher power, what that gives and gifts back to us as we look deeper to your statement when you said, I found myself, although we don't really like to look at it, I found myself taking a hard, deeper look at some things I didn't really want to look at. I kind of want them to be. Yes, it's difficult to go and revisit that, but it's worse. It's a worse energy drain. It can be, a definite personal vitality drain to kind of ignore it and carry that with us forward. And we all have it. So by looking at it deeper and saying, I'm really done with this. I'm really done with this creating any kind of a stress bubble within my consciousness. That's the comeback. That's the rebirth. That's the renewal. And that is also looking at it for one specific purpose. I'm letting it go. I'm letting my angels. Yeah, I'm letting my angels.
It's like trying to purge all the
things.
Yes,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's a better word.
The things that are, because I've had to look at the show. Yeah, I've looked at the show as well, Mary, and I've had to look at, how for some time I maybe wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to. So I had to kind of figure out why that was happening, and then I've had to kind of adjust because these things they weren't doing me any good. They were kind of dragging me down.
Yep.
And then I was having to figure out why I was emotionally reacting the way I was to some things. And that's why when I said to you moments ago, I've just kind of thrown my hands up in the air and said, well, whatever, because I'm kind of trying to face those things and try to work them out. And I don't know, it's just weird. I think we're all going through big changes, not just us, but the planet itself right now.
It is. And what's happening is those of us, it's about a choice. And those of us, like you do with your Warrior Sundays, those of us that are choosing without the need for dogma or being more divisive with judgment and judging others, if we would just focus, that one meme or that one visual that I've seen that's one of my favorites is, in a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind. So this is about, this Libra moon is saying, when you talk about Libra being the scales of balance, don't you think one of the first steps is to say, just to kind of look at the word and say balance. If that's my mantra, if that's my affirmation, what in my life might feel not balanced yet? What feels out of balance? Am I working too much? Am I working to avoid facing certain things? Do I run away to work? And last year was a very dividing year. It was fear, and it was division, and it was judgment, and it was hostility, and it was like a bunch of little spoiled brats got into their primal scream. It's just, people just started to scream because we all, in one fashion or another, some more than others, got locked down like animals that are tossed into an animal shelter. It's just like, here, go in the cage. Maybe you'll get lucky and somebody will come and adopt you. Maybe you'll get euthanized. Maybe just because you got old, you're going to be locked down and you're not as desirable anymore. So I feel like this moon is also a great time for us to have a bit of a deep look and say, stop comparing yourself out there.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Second part of today's very special broadcast. This full moon with our resident astrologer, tarot reader, metaphysical expert. You call her what she is. I think she's amazing. She's sometimes scary, but she's always Mary. And it's Mary Dusina. And you can visit her website at marydusina.com. And that laugh, I would do anything to hear that laugh. It makes me feel good. It almost feels like there's a raise in vibration. And that takes me to a show that we done just a couple of weeks ago now with Stephen and Evan Strong. I know people are sick of hearing me talking about that, but it was epic. It really was. But one thing I was unaware of was the work that they were doing around Uluru. That's Ayers Rock on December the 20th, 2020. And something miraculous happened that day. Somebody I really, really respect and love dearly, I was talking to earlier on today, and they had only just heard the Australian show, and it had a really profound effect on them. And then we got talking about sleep patterns and the raising of the vibration on the planet. Now, I'm going to come back to Mary here now. On the second part of the show, remember to tell everyone to head on over here to hear Mary, and we'll be opening up the phones soon as well. But Mary, what those guys were talking about, the change in the colour of the sky, the flash that was recorded on a camera at Uluru, something miraculous is happening on this planet. Would you agree?
Absolutely. But my whole life, I steer to, like, when I first heard 25 years ago, my First Nations teachers say to me, we slip on skin to walk this earth, but for a while. So for me, the whole archangel hierarchy, the dominions and the thrones and the principalities and the Ophanim and the Seraphim and these masters that are in our history, that the shamans and the medicine men and women, that it's not that we're supposed to revere them to take care of all of our problems, but to learn from that. It's an alchemical process to be able to say, okay, this is new to me. Let me see if I can get this to work in my life. And I can tell you that every time when I've worked with these particular full moons, you were talking about sleep patterns and dream and luminous light, whenever we release those burdens and give it up to the divine hierarchy, to our archangels, to our sacred guardian angels, to whatever way that you connect with the divine creator, however you need to define that, as long as your heart and soul in tandem, in union with that, and you summon and invoke that to come into your life, that's your best way for you to have boots on the ground and see how that works for you. People can tell you all day long, oh, I did this and I did that and this happened, but unless you were there at Uluru, unless you saw the sky and the light come, we can see pictures of it, we can see evidence of it on all parts of the world, but the people that were there, the people that actually bathed in those shafts of light, the people that have seen the UFO, the people that have had those, some of my most, and this is scary, Mary, some of the most poignant moments I've had is when I've had the honor, the privilege in this earth life to be by someone's side when they were going through their transition. So to be able to be at that point and be an earth anchor for them to be able to have someone them as they left their body, it's a different kind of medicine, a different kind of alchemy. So we learn from those things, as tough as they can be emotionally. But what happened back at that solstice point when Saturn and Jupiter joined together in the sign of we the people, that there was a congruency, there was a coming together at certain time points all around the world to be able, if you couldn't go to Uluru, to be able to actually focus our energy. And in 2020, that was the year that showed us, when they say 2020 means you've got perfect vision, I feel, and it's just my little humble opinion, that 2020 locked us down in order for us to look at what we had not been looking at, what we needed to look at in order to have a more perfect vision, and where do we go in times of strife and fear and collapse and desperation. And so to your point about upliftment, 2021 is about rising up. It's about renewal. It's about, if you lost a business, there are new options that are now coming. The wheel is turning, and that broken spoke in the wheel needed to either be replaced so it could move forward again. And humans, Kev, we tend to get attached to things, our stuff, our home, our address, just living here, just doing that job. But the spiritual dynamic is always on the move of raising consciousness. And where we're at right now from that winter solstice, the coming together of Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius, and right now tonight, there's some very unique things about this tonight. Only once a year, the messenger planet, Hermes, Mercury, the messenger, only once a year, the messenger planet, the communicator, the traveler, the seeds of change of knowledge and thought and mindset and intention is coming together. Titan, Neptune, in Greek and Roman mythology, the ruler of all the oceans of emotions. So Mercury and Neptune coming together in Pisces is going to now give us a different kind of holy, sacred awakening. I fully expect with this waning moon all the way into the 14th of April in 2021 that this is the time that our dreams, our meditations, even hypnosis, even going in and doing deep hypnosis, a lot of people are doing past life work right now in order to get unlocked this lifetime. So when you do, and that's the term they use, but to me when you do hypnosis and deeper meditation to where you actually go to sleep with the hypnosis, it's about what is in my spirit treasure trove box, what is in my consciousness, in my spirit that has always been my oneness walk with the divine that could help me get untethered this lifetime from emotional strongholds or judging myself or not feeling like I'm good enough or I could have done that better. I should have known that sooner. How come I didn't see that happening to me? I could have avoided that. No. It's all lessons in greatness. It really is. Sometimes it's tough medicine. Sometimes it's strong medicine. Sometimes it's a bitter pill. But it's how we rise up. It's how when we fall, we get back up. We cowboy up. We get back in the saddle. You go back on the ship. You rise back up. You do it. You have to do it. And by you and I setting examples of being antenna and agents of wanting to uplift consciousness, to bring the shows that you do, to grant people empowerment. It's hope sometimes can seem like there's a little fear in that. I hope that comes true. I hope that's right. I hope that could happen. Hope sometimes can seem like it's got a little bit of doubt as an underpinning. Faith, on the other hand, is a fuel. Faith gets stronger if we bring ourselves accountable to the table first.
So, Mary, towards the start of the year, around the period of time when the Aussie blokes, Evan and Stephen, were talking about how the planet was reacting and we were seeing these pillars of lights around the world, right? Mm-hmm. I remember you sending me one, and it was logical, debunky, skeptical Kev at the time. And I said, yep, and I gave you the scientific explanation for it. And little did I know that at that very moment, Mary, at that very moment, there was a similar light show going on in the skies around Glasgow. Well,
right there in your vortex, right there in your vortex, you're home right now.
It's like the universe kind of giving me a kick in the butt. Say, Baker, read the signs. What do you make of these beams of light, these pillars of light, Mary?
I believe it's an upgrade of frequency. I believe that now it goes back to, for those who have eyes that will see, for those who have ears that will hear, just looking at the pictures of those lights over Glasgow, just looking at those pictures, when I've seen phenomena in the sky and such, to see that. Of course, see, one of my most big points of nature love is always the northern lights, the aurora borealis.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I've been in those, it's just like, I remember seeing those as a child going, my God, truly, this is the breath of God. This is the breath of the divine. This is the visible.
Mary, when I had first kind of qualified to do my trade in the army, the first real posting I got, we were called the Globe-Trotting Unit, and it was because you could go here, there, and everywhere. But the first place that came up on offer when I was posted was Norway. And I was like, Norway? And I stuck my hand up right away because I didn't think of the cold weather. I didn't consider any of that going in January and like almost catching hypothermia. It was the northern lights I was thinking of at the time when I stuck my hand up. There's something, magical.
It's the full feminine yin magnetic breath of the Earth Mother. And I believe, as the Eskimo, the Inuit tribe believe, that the stars that shine down upon us at night are our beloveds, lighting the dark for us, and the Inuit tribe. And the northern lights for me is like, oh, you want some evidence? You want some signs in the sky? Right here. Explain that away to me. Oh, you can say it's just the magnetic fields of Earth and all of that. But now that you have your current scientific explanation of it, like they used to teach us in school that Mars was just a dry, hot planet with no water. Yeah, okay, that's already shifted. So when you see those kind of, don't just intellectually stop there. Instead, go and behold the presence of what it does to you. And it's like when people travel out to Sedona. There are electrical vortices, there are magnetic vortices, there's Bell Rock, there's Airport Mesa, and then there's some, when you have the right kind of tour guide, that will say, okay, this one is just an electrical upgrade of your frequency. This one is just magnetic. This one is electromagnetic. And when you kind of are taking that vision quest, you start to feel what's going on like you did, and your soul didn't hesitate. It immediately threw its hand up going, oh, I need to get into that energy.
Well, so I believe when I look at that, Mary, as well, absolutely you can have the solar wind thing and everything else, but you've got to really appreciate that what it is. It's an exchange of highly charged particles, and I think some of them definitely make it through,
Okay, we're biochemical. Kev, we are biochemical, atomic, if you will, satellites that have a carbon unit covering, if you will. But science has already proven now, and I'm sure it'll change again, and there'll be even more data. So
say that again. Describe that again. We're what kind of satellites? I think that
we're like biochemical, bioluminescent, electromagnetic. We have electrolytes. Okay, electromagnetic. So we're frequency, and we're entombed in a body temple. Okay, but science has already proven that there are more magnetic fields around the heart than what once was thought just to be around the brain. And your biologists and your physicists are now saying, wow, the consciousness is outside the body. We thought it was like, But see, the mystics of old, way older than you or I, knew that we were in a field of consciousness. Some people like to call it visiting the matrix, escaping the matrix. We are atomic, molecular, cellular, magnificent light rays. That's what we are. And so you go into an MRI. It's a magnetic resonant image. It's what it is. So, and if you get alternate current shock therapy when you're going through physical rehab, if you've broken a bone, there's direct current, there's alternating current. So, and that's how they can put people to death in the electric chair. It's direct current versus alternate current.
Now listen, I'm full of, my mind is going everywhere, but you mentioned the kind of body, how it's a biological kind of spacesuit. I usually refer to it as.
That's a good way.
And I believe you heard the show with Nace, Scott, and Nano Girl. Yes. And I was going to ask you about what Nano and Scott were talking about, because Nano was talking about how there's a yearning, a calling, a memory.
A summoning. It's a summoning.
Of not coming from here, of being of the stars.
Yes.
How many people do you experience come into contact with who have got similar memories kind of under the surface? Is this something that a lot of people are starting to remember?
Yes, they are. And I believe actually that started when we were going into what they called the end of the long count of the Mayan calendar in 2012. I believe that really, like a lot of people expected big things to happen visually in the external world as we turned from Y2K into 2000. Then again, they thought there was going to be big things and changes that went on at the end in December, at the end of the Mayan calendar at 2012. It was a reset. That's what it was, and we started then beginning to move away. Well, actually, there was a big reset at the harmonic convergence in August of 1986, and I was absolutely out west then celebrating that in Red Rocks. So what's happening is now we're shifting from relying on the external, and 2012 certainly showed us that. There's a shift in a sacred medicine way, in a spiritual way, to where we're becoming it's like back to the future, so to speak. We're going into the sovereignty of our soul, and it's training us initially, not from evil karma and all that necessarily, although the twisted dark ones are going to get their comeuppance this year, and Sketty Nettie's so good with that. I'm so good with that. I'm so good with the karmic whip getting them, because guess what, evildoers? The karmic sheriff is coming out to issue warrants, and it knows everybody's address, and it never expires. But to those of us that are going to open and it's like re-remembering. Part of this resurrection moon is about bringing it forth from our superconscious and our silver and gold etheric cords. We're now being downloaded by. No wonder the dark forces, no wonder they want to create AI, no wonder they want to separate male-female, no wonder they don't want us to fall in love or touch and keep socially distanced, because they want to tamp down those emotional electromagnetic feelings of, I know you, I'm connected with you, there's something about you that I need to know more because I feel that resonating energy, I feel that pull, I feel that draw. And I'm talking about not just when it's sexual, not just when it's financial.
Well, maybe let's look at us. Let's look at us, right? Because
yes.
there must be a bajillion and one podcasts out there, and I'm just glad to be one of them.
Right.
And yet, somehow, you ended up choosing this show.
Yep.
And I don't think that can be an accident.
It's tribe. No, it's not. And that's the other point to what you're saying and what Nano Girl and Scotty are talking about with this summoning, this higher soul calling. I absolutely believe that everything that seemed to be frustrating and locked down and not fair and taken away from the familiar external aspects in 2020 with, the fear of the disease and those that died and left suddenly and all that chaos magic that happened. Now we're anchoring part of that calling and that summoning and that tuning in and accepting the flow of those pillars of light. I invite those pillars of light. I tell the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, and the signs and the wonders in the heaven in every harmonious supernatural way to be the captain and steer my life ship. Absolutely, I acquiesce to it.
So, Mary, you do a whole wide range of services. I'm really struggling right now, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I have what I would call latent, really, really, really murky, uninterpretable memory of something in a past life. Okay?
Okay.
Now, is that something that you're able to do? And is it
number one, you in allegiance with your divine creator? Absolutely. What do you think the quickening or in the twinkle of an eye or a snap of the fingers that can be released from you? Number one, I have to say, you have that sovereign ability to say to the Almighty I Am, take this from me. But can I help you figure out and trust to do that? Yes. There's a lot of the truth teachers and the light bearers are what we're coming together with now to be able to get that stuff out of our consciousness, because its time is gone. It doesn't serve any other purpose except maybe.
What if there's a memory that you want to recall, like, say, for example, a past life that may or may not be kicking around there?
I always suggest the way I trained, and when I trained with Brian Weiss, because I respected him, I tend to respect the older people a long time because they've got, as I always say, boots on the ground longer than me.
Yeah.
So when I took seminars and trained with Brian Weiss, he's got wonderful things that you can do for free on YouTube, for free. So it isn't always about trying to snatch people up financially. He has on YouTube doing a past life. Now here's why I like him, and Michael Seeley from over in Australia. I like them because he is for people that need that. He's got all the sheepskin, all the diplomas, head of, the psychiatric division, practices out of Miami for a long time, but he has all that college degreed psychiatrist. He's got that. And he made he's credentialed, and he's in the earthly way. But I'm telling you, when I went to one of the Hay House seminars with one of my Vietnam vet friends, that's always, he's had enough post-traumatic stress from Vietnam as a Marine.
I imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That he said, nobody will tell me I can't carry a gun. I'm a watcher. And I said, I'm good with that. And an Aquarian. When we went, his wife, and I went to the room, I went, whoa. I said, okay, I've trained and done one-on-one. There's 400 people in here. I don't know. This will be an interesting challenge. I don't know if I can actually go deep into a past life hypnosis type of thing or a clearing hypnosis with this many people in the room. And he said, well, that's why I sit in the back, and I said, do you think you'll be able to do it? He goes, well, I trust Brian Weiss, so I'm going to be able to do that. So, and I did. And that's how good he is. So you can just type into YouTube, like you're on your YouTube channel, you can just type in Dr. Brian Weiss, W-E-I-S-S, past life regression. And first you can hear him talk about it. And here's what I liked about his approach, Kevin, is that he says sometimes when you first endeavor to do an air quotes soul resonance, past life, remembrance in order to, and he said, number one, you want to only do that not out of something lofty or playful or carnival-y. You want to do that to enhance this life. He said, because whether one believes in the progression of the soul or the people that believe when you're dead, he said anything that can help you improve this lifetime matters. So that's your main goal, right?
Yeah, I think we've got to, I think it's so important, and it keeps coming into my head all the time, that we have to remember who we are and who we've been.
Okay, so when you do that, when you go into your hypnosis, and you don't do it wrong if you happen to slip into sleep, because you're going into the deeper realms of your consciousness, and sometimes when the body lightly falls asleep, but yet you've given it a mission, you've got a vision quest that you're on. If you just say as you're going into hypnosis, and he guides you right through it, just like Dick Sutphen is another great one, but as you go into it, for me to be a skeptic, I have to hear the whole thing while I'm awake before I'll ever do it and go to sleep. I have to hear the whole thing, the whole 30 minutes. I want to hear everything that's said, go into deep hypnosis. And I suggest people to do that so they get rid of all that scary stuff. But when you do that, the piece that you need, whether it comes out right then in that 30 to 45-minute hypnosis, what you've done is you've endeavored to go in to those regions in the next 72 hours to the next week in your dreams, while you're driving, because driving or watching a movie, that's a state of hypnosis. That's a state of self-hypnosis. Like you don't have to say...
you get to that theta state, the brain
right.
waves all kind of...
Absolutely. So do I feel it's valuable? I can only answer for myself and the clients that I've done that with, the guided imagery and the deep soul cleansing meditations that I do. Absolutely, it's healing. Absolutely.
Well, when we come back after the break, I'm going to get Mary to pull me a card from the tarot deck.
Cool.
And I want you to phone in, because this is your show now. I want you to talk to Mary. I have hogged her for the first hour. Very selfish. I could keep her for all 2 hours if I wanted, but no.
That's right.
Up the phone lines. And if you want to call in, folks, it's real easy. All you do is dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. So before we go to the break, Mary, tell me, how has things been over on Light in the Void? What's Joe up to? What's Ryan Gable been doing? How's the vibe over there? I think there's a connection between what goes on at TFR and Fringe FM, because I notice a lot of the shows, the hosts, there's friendships, there's a lot of crossovers. I think we're all on that similar kind of frequency, Mary. So how's it been over there?
I told Joe that too. I said, we're finding, as I said, 2021 is about finding our truth tribe, connecting with the other antennas of light workers, sincerity, the true sincere of the soul and heart, working together. And that's why those are the shows that are going to grow. Those are not just to get numbers of audience, not just to get clickbait or likes and all that, although I am the person who always clicks the thumb up. I am. If I like to support the shows and the hosts.
Same here. I'm an addict to that thumb button.
Well, it's respect. It's respect, People are doing all this work and buying all this equipment. But I feel that the Fringe FM and Truth Frequency Live, they are kindred spirits. They very much are. And I know that Joe certainly has a great appreciation of you. He has a lovely audience like you do. They're very loyal and supportive of the show and the host. And he absolutely, is in quick step, walk step in compatibility with you and Ryan and a lot of the other hosts that are over there. They appreciate, it's about sincerity. You can have all the woo you want to, but the under that is to help uplift us and encourage us with choosing the light over the darkness. And that's, even if you cover topics about exercising demons and people that are caught up in snares, it's important to have those topics. It's important for people to understand.
We're nearly 1,500 episodes into the Kev Baker Show. I still smile every time I hear that intro because that's a song that was put together. It's a remake by our very own Chris and Cherie Geo here. They took Jay-Z and Rihanna's Run This Town and they done it with the Masonic symbols everywhere and New World Order going down. And that's the journey I've been on because I used to listen to Chris and Cherie doing a show called Truth Frequency. Used to listen to the music, and then here I am now, all these years later, on their absolutely stellar network, and that song plays me in for every second hour. Signs for me in this matrix, this puzzle, this simulation, this reality, whatever it is that we're going through. It makes me smile. And this show that we do every month with Mary, it's one of the more uplifting experiences. It's the way I feel when we bring Nano onto the show. It's like we're family. And not only that, but we're getting into some absolutely amazing information. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the phone lines for all of you out there. I'll give out the number, and then I'll get a quick tarot card while we're waiting for our first call. But if you want to be a part of the show today, and I really want you to call in, and so does Mary, then all you have to do is dial 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. So with that said, I'm going to connect the phones on this end, Mary. And
okay.
if you could, if you're willing to, I would love if you could pick me out a little tarot card and see what we get this time while we wait for our first caller.
I'll do that, and I was doing that actually during the break when I was listening to that compilation of Rihanna and Jay-Z and how that Cherie put her energy. She did another great song too. It's What Does the Fox Say? She did a beautiful thing.
Brilliant.
That was hilarious. That's on the. You can find it, on the Truth Frequency Radio. And I'm just like, my God, that girl's really got talent on that. I mean, she took the whole song and changed all the words. It was it's perfect. You got to go see it.
Our very own Mr. Geo, he is he should have a record.
He's a natural magician. He's really a natural magician. Yeah,
he really is. He's one of our resident kind of shaman.
Yeah,
he's definitely on a higher dimensional level.
And I can imagine. I don't know him. I've not spoken with him, but the few shows that I've heard, number one, I love the bond between he and his wife. Number two, he's got old soul eyes, and I feel like that he's had. I feel with him that at times. And I'm not casting any energy or judgment on him at all, but at times I feel like that any kind of disruption in the higher frequencies that he's had is when he has to level down somewhat and deal with earth life day-to-day type of corruption or garbage or just those heavier energies. Because I will say, and it really starts with this full moon as I pick your card, is that there's two kinds of energies, Kev, for all of us. Those people, those scenarios and situations that either lift us up or uplift our frequency. Again, the resurrection and the Passover vibration of this Christ consciousness supermoon in Libra with the Aries sun. It's about us rising above anything of the earthly realm. And when there's either that or there's the people or situations. So when we're talking about electromagnetic, if we show up to be people that are uplifting and we're not guilty of draining and sucking energy out of other people, our relationships, when we feel like we've hit a negative bump in the road, let's say, maybe if we would start with, I didn't mean to hurt you, can you tell me how I hurt you? How did I hurt you? Now, that's not going to work with everybody, okay? But the part of balancing with the Libra supermoon is looking at our own actions and being able to do, the only person you're in control of is yourself. And I'll say this, the two tarot cards out of the traditional tarot that rule this particular supermoon are number 8, because we spoke about the infinity. Yeah. Okay, and that's strength. And that's the female yin biochemical unit that's actually tamed the king of all beasts, the lion, which is the yang masculine, and instead of attacking her, and it's wild out in nature, out in the jungle, it's tucked its male lion tail between its legs, and it's actually licking her hand. So it's that interspecies, it's that ability to connect with an angel, an archangel, a supernatural, the pillars of light to heal us, as well as how we can tame the beast within ourselves, the raging, filled with temptation beast within ourselves, and to be able to say, no, I'm not just that, and that's not going to override my goodness. And the other card, because of it being ruled by the planetary energy, the planetary messenger of Venus or Aphrodite, is the card that's number 3. This is the third month of the year, the Empress. And so the Empress is that Venusian. She even has the symbol of Venus astrologically, the symbol for female. The symbol for Aries and Mars is the symbol for male. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, that book. And so she's got a heart shape with the Venus, and she's pregnant with possibilities. That's what this moon affords us, especially people born under the sign of Cancer, moonchild, Cancer the crab, Capricorn the goat, Aries the hawk, Aries the ram, and also Libra, the scales of justice. Those 4 signs between now and the new moon of April 11th are most profoundly able to rise up the frequencies of anything that has been tethering them, holding them back, even our own self, how we hold our own selves back. So those 2 cards, the Strength card, look it up, you've got the internet, the Strength card in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, and the Empress, so number 8 and number 3 in the tarot, and do some additional study on that now through the new moon of April 11th, and you'll be seeing those symbols in your dreams and your meditations and in your prayers, and those become, in a sense, talismans or visual helpmates, consciousness of what you need to get into balance right now. So the card that I got, I worked with 3 decks. I'm working with 3 decks tonight because 3 is strong for this full moon. It's interesting, Kevin, there was a couple of times I referred to the turtle or the chicken coming out of the egg, and I referred to a treasure trove, and the card that I got for you is called Treasure Island.
Wow, I was doing a stream before the show, and we were getting into the Scottish Treasure Trove Act.
Wow.
That's weird, right?
Wow, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit Guides. Okay, so you've got the Treasure Island, and the imagery, and I'll send you pictures later. I always send my clients pictures of their cards. The imagery is the wonderful sea turtle going along some very glassy teal aqua, dark aqua water, and on the back, on the shelter of the turtle, because we have the soft meat inside the hard shell of like a turtle or a crab, and then there's there we go, and it's a treasure chest like we would see and think about in all the great pirate movies. So the water is the emotions and the effluvia of manifestation, the flow of manifestation. So when you look at oracle cards or dream symbols or imagery, you look at, is the treasure chest closed? Is it far away? Do you have to have a map to get there? In this card, there are floating, levitating hearts, and there are starfish, and in the opened trunk, there's a spirit face. There's like a male's face looking at you like your own guide, your own angel going, I'm right here. I led you right here. So what you have is you didn't have to, your journey, the turtle is heading over as I look at the card, it's heading over to the left, which means that the skill sets and the divinity, how you were actually fashioned and created, when you were animated and this just breathes into you. The aquatic energies, you even came in with that zodiac sign. It's Cancer the crab at the ocean's edge. And so this is the ocean. It's not a river. It's not a mountain waterfall. It's the ocean. And the treasure chest is opening up. Now, the turtle is heading to the left, which means that there's some things to do with people that you have met or connected with, or places that you wonder now when you sit here in 2021, that's interesting. I was around that person in 2016. That's interesting that I was around that person in 1998. And I thought I was all finished with that then, but now it's come back to bless me. It's like some of the things that you didn't fully understand then are coming back to be like the I's are going to be dotted, the T's are going to be crossed. And I keep hearing my guides say, X marks the spot. He's walking on prosperous land. So I feel like that you're going to hit some kind of jackpot. There's something that's going to, like, out of the blue, be very surprised. And I don't say this to people lightly because charlatans can do this kind of stuff, and I won't, because my integrity matters most to me.
You give me goosebumps, Mary. You're scary Mary mode now. Scary Mary mode.
Good scary Mary. Good scary Mary.
Yeah.
So I feel like that this is that you went to the edge. You went all the way to the edge in when you were doing your army thing, when you were in Norway, when you were meeting up with people to just listen to the shows and then start doing a show for many years, connecting with who you connect with and other podcasts. This is all electromagnetic, vibrational spokes of a wheel. You went to the edge and you said, why not? Why not? If not me, who? If not me, who? And so this vehicle of who you meet, who you speak with, how they enliven you, how you empower them, and how that scales starts to balance out to both bring people that are thirsty souls to come listen to you. This is a part of the treasure and vision quest of your life. That's that card.
Well, really quickly, because we've got a caller on the line, but I'm not sure if I shared this with you before. I've shared it with the audience, but I know I'm exactly where I need to be right now. I know I'm exactly where I need to be because years ago when I was in the army and, talking to audiences and being a public speaker or anything like that was the furthest thing from my mind. We went home on leave back to Fort Augustus to Loch Ness and the Highland Games were on. Long story short, myself and my girlfriend at the time, we thought we'd be dead smart and try and trick the kind of fortune teller that was there. So we made sure we didn't go anywhere near the caravan together, and we thought we'll leave it a couple hours apart and we'll see what they come up with.
Smart.
And she went first, went and got hers done. And then when I went in, the first thing the woman said to me was, "Now, do I not love a man in uniform? Take a seat." And I'm thinking, whoa, hang on, how does she know that? And then she showed me on my hand, she was a palm reader. And people will be rolling their eyes going, they're at it. Well, maybe. And I thought she was.
No, when they're sincere, they're sincere no matter what the method.
Because what this woman said to me was, Kev, I see two roads for you. One of them, you have the career that you're on right now, and it's like the 2.4 children, perfect kind of life. You own the car, the house, all that kind of stuff. She says, but there's this other path. And she says, I don't know. I can't really see much there. And what she said to me, and what I'll never forget, is she said, see all these people out here? And she lifted the little curtain back and pointed out at the crowds out doing all the things at the Highland Games. She says, one day, these people will all be coming to listen to you. Wow. And at the time, I said, no, that ain't happening, whatever. And I left there and I thought, yeah, she's quite good. She got the uniform thing, but I've got a short haircut. She probably read into that. But, Mary, that's how now. At the time, it didn't mean anything, but it stayed with me. And it was only maybe a year or so ago, it really dawned on me that I'd fulfilled what that woman had seen in my hand. Amazing, eh?
Well, you know what I call that? I call that like an immortal moment, because even though that happened back then, you time travel back and forth with it, because it's when someone gives you a frequency message that's a seed of light, it goes into your inner garden, and it weed and feeds, and then it starts to create the healing elixirs that you need in your consciousness, and then it continues to bloom and blossom, just like we have different seasons. It's time for hibernation, it's time for the new plants to unfurl, and that kind of a thing. Before you go to the caller, I want to finish with your cards real quick. The other one is the helping hand of spirit. It's called the Four of Cups. The way I learned tarot, the spring season and the cups are heart with the oceans of emotions. It has a lot to do with moving from fear feelings into faith fuel. And this is a man, and he's got his back up against a tree, and he's in a contemplative type of meditation posture. He's alone. He wants to be alone. It's like the hermit's repose. He's trying to get some type of direction and momentum in his life. So there are 3 golden chalices, communion cups, or 3 hearts if you want to see it in regular playing cards. And he's looking at them in the earthly, sitting there on the beautiful lime green grass, and he's like, and what is it that I'm to see? What is it that I'm to do with these 3 full goblets, these 3 full, these are prosperity to me, these are good things in my life, these are the things that I've manifested and I'm grateful for. And here comes this little white cloud, and there's a spirit hand. Is it an angel? Is it the archangel? If there's a spirit, you just see the hand, and the hand is, and I love the way Eden Gray worded it in her tarot book, the spirit hand is issuing forth from the cloud, giving him the next cup. So your next cup of, I am one with the Almighty, I am one with my destiny, I'm right where I need to be right now. Spirit is applauding you and rewarding you, like the Treasure Island card, the treasure chest, and giving you the next cup. So yes, prayer, meditation, ceremony, hypnosis, your guides are like right there, wanting to give you some of the missing pieces of the puzzle to help you take the next step forward. And then the final card from the other deck, from my T circular cards, you got the harp. And the harp, these are circular cards instead of the normal square cards. And the harp, again, it's interesting, there's a white arm. It looks feminine to me, but there's a white arm playing the harp. And the harp has one of those kind of lion, dolphin-looking ancient creatures on it. And the message of the harp is great happiness. The reason I went to 3 different decks is I wanted to see, will there be a synchronistic message? Will they contradict each other? So the one deck is Treasure Island. Out of the Rider-Waite deck, you got the Four of Cups. And then in the circular third deck, you got the harp, which is, harps have a different kind of energy. They're associated, like trumpets, with angelic realms.
Harps, to me, that comes to mind as frequency again.
Yep. Like
Yep.
a tuning fork. And I love harps. I absolutely love harps. I mean, I played the flute, but I love harps.
There was definitely a golden thread, a synchronicity between the 3 decks. But listen, this isn't about me. It's not even about Mary. It's about these callers that we've got on the line now. So what I'm going to do is, Mary, when we connect the callers, I'll say my hello, but then they're all yours, okay?
Okay.
So first up, we're going to area code 804. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Mary Dusina right now. So, Mary, all yours.
Hello, caller, and blessed supermoon in Libra to you. May it all be wonderful signs.
Awesome. Hi, Mary. It's finally nice to actually get through and chat with you for just a second.
Thank you for that. I'm honored by that. I truly am. I'm honored by that. Would you like to ask a question, or would you like me to just read the card?
There is so much that with this conversation and the topic for tonight that is just coming to mind. And perhaps the reason why I waited to call is maybe I needed to hear the message that's being delivered tonight. I originally had thought about calling and asking for you to read my spirits, but I'm also really keen on a tarot card as well.
Okay, out of the 2 decks, what in the Oracle deck, the number is 32. And if you've been listening to the show, which it sounds like you have, there is a woman sitting atop a light rose pink egg. She's sitting with angelic wings holding a banner up in the sky, and she's levitating on this egg. And there is a wooden post, and one of the designated signs that's been attached to this post is an arrow pointing to the left that says past. She's in the center of these 2 posts now. The other one is a post that says future, and it's pointing to the right. And she's very serenely sitting atop this egg. She has wings like a dragonfly, but she's sitting there. But it's called You Are Here in the Here and Now. So her little scarlet banner, it says You Are Here. So the here and now, I feel, is multifaceted as a message. It's about today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. I don't, as you just stated, and as Kev knows, I don't think it's any accident. I believe it's kismet. It's fate that you're talking to us today, that you got on the show under the supermoon of renewal and resurrection in the sign of Libra, balance. And one of Libra's associated colors is a pale rose pink, like pink roses, rose oil, rose hips as an elixir. And I feel like that although there's been a lot of potentiality of changes around you, I feel like that you're centered if you really look at that which you're grateful for right now in front of you, even though it may have had many cracked eggs of struggle that you had to emerge from to get new life. Your other card is the King of Pentacles, so I feel like there's something to do with an earth sign. There's something to do with a more yang, positive, outreach, direct type of an approach for you to go as far as connecting with someone that is very skilled in the work or the specialty that they have or that they do that's going to help. It might be a loan, it might be selling something, investing in something, paring down, going through stuff in order for you to lighten your load and be able to feel the wealth of a change. I feel like you are looking here and now at what truly has been a blessing and a challenge in your life. You're looking at the past and the future. Remember these posts that are here on this card, and you're deciding right now what it is that you want to liquidate and what it is that you want to invest more of your life force energies into, whether that's work or a partnership or how you're rearranging your nutrition and your health. This feels like a holistic orbit for you, like soul, mind, body.
It feels like it. Ever since the conjunction,
Yes.
I've been kind of...
Yep. And that's what it is you opened up for the ability not just to be the mule, but and not the one carrying, or the oxen with the workload all the time. But I feel like that what it was is that you allowed the upgrade to happen. Even if we talk in computer terms, the malware got removed, you emptied the recycle bin, and it wasn't just that you got a new programming, your hard drive got upgraded. Now when that happens, there is a little bit of, as Kev loves to say, a little bit of scary that comes with that. It's like, okay, I've really got to embrace this. I've really got to put my toe in the water and walk forward with this. But your other oracle card is a blackbird, a starling, on a dogwood tree, and the card is called Flowers, and the word message is happiness. So I see you as flowering in the here and now by, even if it's been at times a bitter pill or difficult medicine walk, I feel like that she's levitating on top of this egg. Eggs are all about beginnings, wombs, embryos, eggs, seeds. So I feel like, and in the middle of this egg, there is a trifold archway stained glass opening. So it's like you're able to, like an oracle, you're able to look inside yourself at the new beginnings, and you've got an ability, I feel, into the beginning of May to be able to peer ahead and then process it in the here and now about being able to be that you're not just an actor or an actress right now, you're writing the script. You're writing the script. You're writing yourself in and out of whatever you want to in your life storybook. That's really strong with you.
And you're absolutely correct with that.
It's the guides. I always honor my angels and my guides. And as I love to say over on the Fringe FM, whenever the recipient, the caller, is that pregnant pause, it's like I do my past life black lady in church going, glory has come into this moment, glory.
That must be something you deal with a lot, Mary, that kind of pregnant pause while people pick their jaw up off the floor. Listen, I don't want to go to the next caller yet because we've only got about 3 or 4 minutes. So, Jules, is there anything else you would like to ask Mary? Or Mary, have you got anything else you would like to tell Jules that you're picking up on?
What my guides are telling me is that if she wants to resonate with the impact of what they just told her, and I know it's a lot. My guides talk really fast, and it comes fast and furious with me. It really does, because I've got Medi out of the way, and I'm letting my angels and guides come through, and I don't censor it. Whatever comes through, you get. I don't pretty it up. I don't hold it back, and it doesn't have to make sense to me because it's for you. So do you understand that this is also a shift in your, I do feel for the better. Like when you get a king or an ace of a certain suit in the regular tarot deck, it's got to do with prosperity. And keep in mind when you think about regular playing cards, the pentacles are diamonds. And back in the ancient day in the Middle East, the monetary name for their currency was called talents. Talents. So I think you're looking into your prosperity bag of talents that you have, blessings of what you've studied and what you've enjoyed diving into as far as learning and teaching. Do you teach, or do you speak or teach, or like you an avid student? There's something about that.
I do not teach. I come across a lot of people in my current career path.
Okay.
I actually am the coffee hound. I work for Starbucks.
Okay.
I have a lot of interesting conversations with people, and I'm one that the younger kids come to me and they ask, "Tell me about this," or "What's with this?"
How's that not teaching? How is that not teaching?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't consider it teaching because all I do is just answer their question. But I do.
But did they go away with
answer their question?
Mary, she's like me. This is definitely a fault in the KBS audience as well. We're all too humble, Mary. She's not wanting to take credit for being a teacher here.
That's okay. Well, it's good that she doesn't have an erect ego. But what I'm going to tell you is that I do see you in like to me, Starbucks and the current popularity of these kind of coffee houses. To me, it's the Silk Road of the past. There's many travelers. There's many voyagers. There's many merchants that are showing up, and it's a wonderful vortex for people to be able to receive nuggets and pearls of wisdom.
Well, we are on the break. Thank you for calling in. Short message. Can't believe I'm saying this already, but it's the final segment of today's Kev Baker Show with Mary Dusina. She is in the hot seat, and she is waiting for your call. Now, I don't think there's much point in me handing out the number again because we have got people queuing up to talk to Mary, and that doesn't surprise me. But let me take this opportunity real quickly to remind you that TFR doesn't stop after me. No, I am warming you all up for Lucky and Quantum Connections after the Kev Baker Show finishes. Over 33 live shows right here on your number one network, where we give you protection from deception. And tonight, where silence is definitely consent. And what a show it's been with Mary Dusina. And without any further ado, let me go to area code 858. Welcome to the show. You're on with Mary Dusina.
Yeah. Hello, Mary. I've never talked to you before. How you been today?
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking your time in your life to connect with Kev and I. I appreciate that. It matters. It matters.
Is there a question? Is there a question you've got, or do you want Mary just to give you a reading that she picks up on?
I don't know. I'll just let her do the reading because I know I have a lot of animals. I know a lot of spirits are trying to connect to me, but I'm not sure if it's something.
One of the things I feel with you, I see this beautiful male stag, like this deer, and I feel like that there's a lot of you give a lot of pause. You're able many times you kind of just watch, kind of like a crow on a tree branch. It watches. It doesn't just zoom right down to get the food that it sees down there. It watches to see if there's any predators or anything that it needs to. It does that 360-degree panoramic view, and I feel like that you're very good at looking at all four corners of something before you don't rush in. It's like where angels fear to tread. And I feel like with you, you're coming out of a cycle where you're coming out of some kind of a stagnation cycle, but I feel like that you've also had an interruption with your ability to sleep as deeply as you would like to sleep. Rhythms have been backwards or something. It feels like when you least expect it, you're like, man, it would be nice to have a nap. How come I can't sleep when I'm supposed to sleep? What's going on with that? Why is that so topsy-turvy? That's going to correct itself. I feel like that you've got both the Six of Swords, and in the round oracle deck, you've got the kite. What's interesting is there's a fancy astrological term, which is boring for most people. It's called a kite. And the kite involves 3 planets that are in a trine, or 180 degrees of positivity happening with this particular supermoon of last night and tonight. And also, it has 2 other planets that are what we call in sextile, or 60 degrees. So it's a time of momentum. And I feel like that everything to do with the sky world, like clouds, stars, creatures of the sky. We talked about the pillars of light. I feel like Spirit's shifting you to your animal creatures or the sky world creatures, and that can be lightning bugs and butterflies and hummingbirds and seagulls. But I feel like you're to keep your eyes to the skies, and I also feel like that you're overdue to be able to like escape your current surroundings. Like I feel like there's going to be some kind of short excursion or journey or some type of travel or going into a different landscape or area than what you've been familiar with for a long time. Now, audience, of course, we all know with the lockdown of the pandemic all over the world, people are definitely itching to get out of their house. I've taken that into account. This feels very specific to him. And I feel like that shift in scenery, that ability to maybe broaden, like look further into, if I were to travel somewhere tomorrow, where would I want to go? And I keep thinking, some people think about the mountains, some people think about the seashore. With you, I desire to actually encompass the whole journey, like the getting there, how you'll get there. But I keep seeing clouds, and but pretty clouds, like how the clouds change between sunset and twilight. So it's the beauty, it's that free, almighty portrait that happens every day at sunrise and at sunset, or the moonrise. We have all this free art to look at if we just step outside our doors and our windows and look. So there's something about landscape phenomena, things that are in the sky. Who knows? Maybe you're going to see a unidentified flying object. But there's something about the sky beings, the sky creatures, and everything to do with the upper worlds, that what's attributed to the upper atmosphere. Perhaps it's even the upper levels of the heavens. But I feel like there's something to do with the as above, so below, that has a lot of messaging for you, including a lot of your animals. The earth creature that I saw the deer with the antlers, this stag, this male deer, and he's looking right. I'm face to face with it. So I feel like that if you were to morph into a certain animal medicine teacher right now, I feel like that four-legged, as we call it, the four-leggeds, that deer has a lot to do with teaching you to be easier on yourself, like self-nurturing. What are the things that you might do to ease up on yourself, is your thought patterns, how you might discipline yourself to be easier on yourself in your mind and your thinking, maybe doing some disciplined intentions and affirmations, maybe even automatic writing and journaling. Maybe there's some stuff that's going to come through that's so profound in your prayers, meditations, or ceremonies that you write it down. You're like, my God, when you read it the next day, right there's my answer. So I feel like it's flowing through you. There's movement flowing through you. But you'll have to call Kev and I back on this, because I really feel like there's a very special travel. There's very special journey or some kind of venture or something. There's a venture with adventure that's going to be very prosperous for you.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm looking at this stag right now. And, of course, that's our very proudly Scottish beastie. We love our stags over here. Yes.
Oh,
we
yeah.
love our stags. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a question about what Spirit brought through for you, or do you want to just process it?
Oh, yeah. I want to see what kind of what Spirit brought me through, because mostly I have bears, usually. They come through a lot. They try to get my attention. They cuddle with me on my bed during the summer.
Do you actually have bears that come to your place, or is this in dreams and meditations?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's interesting you said that. There's a connection with you and I, because last October, there's a lot of black bear in the Appalachian Mountains, okay, but I'm rural. Like, I'm not in where the tourists see them in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge and Nashville and all that. and there was a bear that came to me as a baby, and the bear came back. It came back on equinox, and now that bear, when it came to me as a baby, it was 200 pounds. And it would run when I'd go out the door, and I'm like, it's okay. But I'm an animal telepath first before humans. That was natural for me as a young child. And now it came back. It remembered my kindness, and it came back. It's about 500 pounds now.
Whoa, watch yourself with that, Mary. Now, listen, unfortunately, we're going to have to move on to the
That's
next
okay.
caller.
Thank you.
Love to hear from you next month after you've been on a journey, on a bit of adventure.
Yeah, I want to find out what that is. Yeah,
exactly.
and research the stag. Kev just taught me. I didn't know that the stag was so in fashion with Scotland.
Yeah, that's our thing over here, Mary. Oh, big time. Especially up in the Highlands where I'm from. You
Had
hear
no
them
idea.
calling out, and a lot of people unfortunately go and poach them. However, there's nothing like the sight of a stag and the cold.
I hope the caller researches
Scottish
that more.
Morning. Yeah.
Yep.
So listen, without any further ado, let's go to area code 801. You're on with Mary Dusina. Over to you, Mary.
Hello, caller.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Kev.
Hi there.
How are you today? Hey, I just kind of want to see what Spirit has.
On you go.
I like that wind. I like the wind that I'm hearing.
That was like right on cue there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I feel that the first thing they're telling me is telling me she already knows this, but we want you to say it anyway. You've gone through something. It's just they keep saying that wasn't for her. That's not for you. It's not for you. And the card that flipped over says not for you. And what it is, I feel like it's specifically got to do with someone wanting you to get involved with something that they may have a high passion for, or they may have a strong interest in. And it's not that you don't like that person, appreciate that person's skills and talents, but I feel like that it's not for you. It's like you would be helping them with their dream, helping them in pursuit of that success, but it's not for you. So it's not a negative reading. It's just like you. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get that completely. I am getting divorced, and I got married because it was a security thing.
Wait a minute, I like the
child. It
was
a security thing for him.
Okay, tell me what the child is saying, because I'm really.
He's saying, "Don't put me in the car."
Okay.
We are listening at his brother's karate class, and he followed me out. So I put him in the car to play.
Well, listen, my blessings to your children, blessings of this transition. This is the moon. It's interesting that you mentioned karate and martial arts, because my favorite cousin has taught martial arts, mixed martial arts, for over 30 years, and he's a retired Special Forces Green Beret lieutenant colonel. So it's interesting. So hi, Larry. So it's interesting to do with the martial arts thing. Still has the schools here in Tennessee as well as around the world. So for you, I got the Ten of Cups. So even though you're going through a transition, a divorce is a death of a relationship, which means that it will morph, if you have children together, into a different kind of a connection. So I feel like that, divorces and separations aren't always horrible things. I look at it in a metaphysical sense of when we've shown up and done the best that we can do, maybe the karmic reasons and maybe the spiritual reasons that we first came together for were achieved. And even though you may get a legal divorce, there's some way of knowing that you're still going to have with each other if you've had kids and mixed family and stepkids and all of that. It's just that maybe the definition or the title of the relationship is shifting. But you've got you've got the 10 of Cups, and that's the rainbow of the full cups. It's the highest suit number of the cups. And so I keep feeling October for you, like September, October, that there's going to be a lot of things settled. And then I also feel like that there's going to be a deep help and a friendship with someone that is of the same sex, biological sex that you are. And I don't know if that's the attorney or the settlement or whatever it is, but I really feel that there's a deep resonance with you. I want to tell you, don't give great worry over something that's going to end up being not that big of a deal. It's hard when we go through losing a job or a divorce or, it's hard. It's a rite of passage, but the animal totem that I got for you is the whale. And the whale can go into the deepest waters. They're very protective of their offspring, and the whale is sonic. It's very sonic. It's studied a lot by the Navy. Kevin could talk to that, by the Navy and different maritime, Coast Guard and Navy, because the whale and the dolphins have that different kind of sonic wave type of thing that have helped our scientists and our military figure out special ops kind of weapons, So there's something about the whales. They're like floating submarines,
Yeah, whales are amazing. Yeah.
So look that up. Do some deeper look up what is the animal medicine meanings of whale. Look that up, and then I also want you to look up. It's the 10 of Hearts. So there's chalices in a rainbow. So although life is putting you through a kind of a rite of passage, you're going to be okay. And now I understand the not for you. You've decided that you're going to shapeshift that relationship.
Yes, and it's so good to hear that it's going to end up being a positive for both of us, and that we can continue to have a relationship that we work with our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that. And again, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think if we stay in the center of, look, I'm not in your life to hurt you. I'm not in your life to hurt you. I may set boundaries so I don't get hurt unnecessarily, but I am not that person. I'm not in your life to hurt you. And we have created some wonderful children. So let's stay on that point. Make sense?
Thank you. That is exactly the message I've been wanting to hear.
You got it.
That makes my day. It makes my day. And thank you so much.
Bless you, honey.
Thank you so much for phoning in. Yeah, it means the world to me.
I like your children.
Yep, same here. Sounds awesome.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Mary. You guys are pillars of light for me, and I appreciate your work, and I appreciate all the help that you provide to everyone around the world and just making this place a better place.
Awesome. Wow. Awesome. Thank you. What a compliment, pillars of light. I accept.
Especially with us talking pillars of light earlier. I don't know. It's just awesome. So listen, we're going to Canada. Awesome. Area code 474. You're on with Mary Dusina.
Hello, Canada.
Hello, Canada.
Are they there?
I can hear us feeding back. Okay, we're going to go to the next caller. It is area code 732. Welcome to the show, and you're in with Kev and Mary.
Bless you.
Kev and Mary, this is. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can now.
Yep.
Oh, it's funny. My food just came when you finally picked up.
It's typical, isn't it? It's typical.
Mary, you're so amazing. And Kev, if it weren't for listening to you every night, I would really be insane. Freaky Friday saved my mental health. But with all the crazy things going on in the world, I'm oversensitive, and I tend to get really bad depressions, seriously dark, deep depressions. And my house looks like the Tasmanian devil lived in it. I can't seem to get anything done. And I got so depressed, I ordered like $1,000 of bare root plants and a big, huge pile of dirt, and I have like a fused neck, and I am insane. I've just cut my workout to hell straight away.
Well, you know what? Sometimes one of the great ways, this is that resurrection, rise up and be transfigured and transformed Libra full moon. And so sometimes when we've kind of looked around, to use your words, my house looks like the Tasmanian devil ran through and likes to come through every day. Sometimes it can get so overwhelming that if we shift into something that will be better because we're busy, that's a cathartic way to come out of a deeper kind of pile up or clutter or stagnation, because when you put new life into soil, when you put new life into the loamy, rich soil of our Earth Mother, into you're actually putting seeds of change in plants or trees or flowers, you're actually giving back to the Earth Mother. And I think one of the great ways out of any kind of sadness or darkness, dark night of us, is, even if we don't have money, find a way to give. So even though you spent the $1,000 on the dirt and the bare root and all that, it's got new life. It's found a vortex and a home with you. So you are the birth mother by spending the money and having it arrive. And you're going to do, even with the carpal tunnel, you're rising above that. and you're going to put new life into the Earth Mother, into the actual portal and vortex of where you are currently residing. And as you do that, there's sunshine, there's rain, you're getting in touch in a mystical way with the elements. And, if we put a seed or a plant in the ground and we keep pulling it up to look if the seed has cracked its shell yet, like an egg, or the roots of a plant, then it doesn't have time to gestate. It doesn't have time to put its filaments and put its magic into the earth. There's an alchemical process going there. But I feel with you, I feel like that everything that you felt that got pushed away or pushed back, it's like, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. I feel like where you were maybe a little clue as to where it became sadder or darker or more depressed is that one of the cards that you got is a female. She kind of looks like a bohemian gypsy. I like her. And she's leaning down on this concrete slab, and a red book. I know people like to type and do iPads and all that. This is a book. And so a red book with white wings has landed on this carport, this concrete slab, like a carport-looking thing. And behind her is a question mark that's levitating up in the air, east-west. It's not vertical like we normally do a question mark. And the name of the card is Why. So she has been asking why. That's you. And I feel like the book from the heavens, the message, the signs, and the answers from the heavens, the book came down from the sky. The wings are still up, but it's landed for her, and she's opening that book. So I feel like 31st of March on into July, mid-July, like somewhere around July 11th to the 15th, I feel like that you're putting all the pieces together, your life book, the past, the right now, and that which is just ahead. I feel like this timepiece right here, the latter part of March going into the middle part of July, like gives you the scrolls that open up to you. It could be dreams, it could be meditation. And there is such a thing as open-eyed meditation when we're listening to music. I feel sound is very important for you right now. And as you're outside listening to the wind, I got to hear the wind with the last caller, so that was air frequency. Air.
I'm going to freak you out before the end of today's show, Mary. You don't know it yet, right? But I'm going to freak you out before the end of today's show.
Okay. But I want to tell you, caller, you're better busy. So I'm not saying you need to get OCD or manic in the other way. I'm telling you right now, doing nothing and then driving yourself crazy, too busy. I feel like that whatever you've been saying to your angels and to your guides of why am I sad? Why can't I get out of this darkness? Why? I feel like that the main message you need to hear today is that the manna, the bread of heaven, is sending you the book of knowledge, and your answers are landing right now. And now the number is 31, so maybe it is March 31st, and I'm just giving you a preset message of when it's coming through, but you'll actually have it resolved by the middle part of July. So please call back by July and give us an update.
Thank you so much, Kev. You've been the most wonderful host, and I just love listening to you. I never caught you on your new moon thing. What time do you usually do that during the day on Fringe?
Oh, wait for this. I'm in the Eastern Daylight Time Zone, and like Kev, it goes all over the world, and that one, it gets archived on YouTube, too. It's on Lighting the Void, and the next show is April 11th, and I come on my time zone at midnight live till 2 a.m.
Awesome.
Right. Oh, I'm up all night, so I'll be sure to listen to you on the 11th. Thank you so much for everything. You're so
Bless
wonderful.
You.
I wish I got to meet you.
Let me thank you for calling in today, because you've been like our final caller here, and it's been like the icing on our
cool.
cake. So, Mary, I think you would probably echo my thanks to you and the rest of the callers as well, because it totally completes the show, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's our unfinished symphony, our unfinished symphony to be continued.
There you go. So I hope you have a great day. Okay. Don't worry about your house looking like a Tasmanian devil's been in it. It must be the same Tasmanian devil that I've got in mine here. So I tell you, people have Tasmanian devils. You have a great day. Okay?
Bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too.
I'll take it.
There we go. So listen, I said to you there, I'm going to freak you out. And usually I call you Scary Mary, right? So if I ask you to cast your mind back to the tarot cards that you pulled for me,
Mhm.
Would I be right in saying that we had a sea turtle?
Yep.
Yes. You also mentioned an X marks the spot, almost
Yes.
like treasure, like a pirate treasure.
Yep, Treasure Island, and the treasure chest
Island.
is opened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we had a caller who called in, our first caller of the day. And they messaged me after they had called, wanted to thank you for the call. But get
Aw.
this, okay, get this, because our friend Jules, her animal totem is a sea turtle.
Glow.
She's a pirate, and I can testify to that because I was listening to them the other night, and Jules was telling us that this year we're all going to take part in International Speaking Like a Pirate Day. She
Love
also
it.
says that Connie Gilchrist, star of Treasure Island, was born on her same birthday in 1901. Weird
I love this.
coincidences. So listen, I thought that's kind of freaky, Mary. It's
But
almost
listen
like
to her
you were-
name.
Yeah, it was
Listen to
almost,
her name. Even if she spells it Jules or Julis, it still phonetically sounds like the jewels that we find in the treasure chest.
Oh, you are amazing. Listen, folks, this is why I call her Scary Mary, but I say it in the most affectionate, loving way possible. If you want to check out more, you can hear Mary on Lighting the Void with Joe Roop every new moon. And this month or next month, it'll be the 11th. We'll be back on KBS here on your number one network, Truth Frequency Radio, on the full moon in April. So keep your eyes open for that. And Mary, is there any other shows that you're going to be on? Let people know how they can follow you and contact you as well, please.
Thank you. I go on with, there's a podcast called Enlighten Up with Nicole Froelich that I go on at least 4 times a year. She's lovely. She also does tarot, and she's a life coach, and she loves to do little things on YouTube with your signs and everything. So that's Enlighten Up. Not enlightenment, Enlighten Up. She's a lovely, lovely energy. She's a Taurus-born star. She's really cool. And I would just like to remind us that we've come out of the Pisces season. We've had the turning of the wheel, the great turning of the wheel. Aries has started globally for us. And so when we come to April 11th, the next new moon, the moon is waning now from full. It's the first full moon. Initiation of this new year, the official new year for me, 2021, happened at spring equinox, at equinox. And now on April 11th, this is where we boldly go forth with that new idea. We meditate, we set our intention. And come get a reading at marydusina.com.